Hello and welcome to Leader Spotlight. I'm Tracy Clark, the Executive Director of the County Chamber of Commerce. And today I'm excited to introduce you to Tom Click, who is the founder and president CEO of Patriot Aluminum right here in Louisa County. Really thrilled to have you and talk with you today, Tom. I know we've got a lot of topics to talk about. I particularly want some insight about hosting the vice president of the U.S. But why don't we start with just a brief introduction about who is Tom Click? How did you, are you from Louisa? How did you get here? Just share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Tracy, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's very exciting to me and to be here in Louisa County. We definitely love it here. I actually grew up in Kentucky, in eastern Kentucky, in a coal town called Prestonsburg, and still have a lot of family there. My wife and I met each other, got married, and had our first child when we lived in Chicago. And it was really cold in Chicago. We didn't have any family, so she has family in Virginia, and we came to Charlottesville about 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really loved the area. And we actually started Patriot in Charlottesville behind the airport in the old Murray Electric building, literally the only industrial spot that had any space in the county. In Albemarle County, didn't really see any space in Louisa County, and we were really small when we started up.
Yeah.
Just a couple of machines and really like 5 employees, maybe 6 employees. And Andy Wade was there from the very beginning. As soon as I signed the lease, he literally was pitching me to move to Louisa County, and there was no space. We just kept up the relationship, and he's a great guy, very smart guy.
Yeah.
The county is very lucky to have him. And around 2014, in our 4th year, we were able to put together a plan to come to Louisa County. We were the first tenants in the Ferncliff Industrial Park. We worked with the local IDA. They were super fantastic, helped us out with the building, designed it. I drew up the building on PowerPoint, and literally the county did everything else.
Wow.
Built this thing for us, and it's purpose built for conduit manufacturing. That's our main product. You can see all the stuff here behind me in my background.
Yeah.
We make the pipe that holds the wires, and it's one of those background industries that if you're not in it, you probably don't even know about it. But the county's been great. It's really enabled me to get more involved with Virginia, Central Virginia, and helping my fellow Virginians to grow the economy here and have a good time while doing it.
That is amazing. So Kentucky, we talked a little bit about this. I'm a Kentucky girl as well, spent some time there. So welcome to Virginia. It sounds like you've enjoyed it and experienced the big city. Coming back to more rural America is pretty nice and refreshing, right? Tell me.
Sometimes I like them both. I like them both. I like the museums in the city, and I like the mountains in the country. So.
That's right. It's a good mix. Well, you have a good balance. You've seen both, so that's great. You're bringing that experience. Did you, as a kid, know that you were going to grow up to make conduits or own your own business? Like, what was kind of your vision?
I don't think anyone grows up thinking they're going to make conduit, but when I was a kid, I loved manufacturing and puzzles, and one of my favorite toys was Tinker Toys. When I was 4 years old, I got a Tinker Toy set, and I made a fishing pole out of it, and it was great, right? And it just, to me, because we fished all the time, and it was really, I had a lot of fun with this, but I remember this vividly. I made it, and I had the spool and everything on it. And I took it to my dad, and he was like, "How did you do this?" I was like, "Well, this kind of goes in here," and really loved manufacturing. But I went to the University of Kentucky. I got my undergraduate and an MBA in marketing and strategy, and just kind of went off on a career of product development, and worked for a window and door company, and always enjoyed the manufacturing side of it to me because it just seemed to make sense. It seemed it was really interesting to me. And worked for one of the Newell Rubbermaid companies and ran product development and engineering for them. And again, I just really loved manufacturing. I always thought I'd work at these companies. I'm like, I could do this so much better than them. And I was going to start that kind of business. And then I went to work in the aluminum industry, and I was like a kid in a candy shop because aluminum
Wow.
everywhere. It's in thousands of different products in different industries. And I really enjoyed my time there. I was the vice president of products and marketing, and got to manage a couple of divisions. One made aluminum conduit, and did a complete turnaround on the business model. It was really successful, and I thought one of these days I'm going to do this. And you know, private equity came into the business. I don't want to be negative or anything like that. They came in and did what they do best, which is change everything.
Yeah.
Bankrupt. I went to work for another aluminum company, and after a couple of years, when we were coming out of the credit crisis, I said, "This is time to go."
Yeah.
And if you go to the website, you can see the story. And you know, there might be a little poetry in there, but there's no poetic license. It's literally true. I rented 1,000 square feet from Donnie Foster. We taped it off with duct tape in the factory. I bought a machine on eBay for $5,000. I cut my first thread, and I'd worked in that company for 8 years, right? I cut my first conduit thread and looked at it, and I thought, this is better than anything in the industry right now.
Wow.
You know why? And the why is beyond just the type of machine. It's a lot of things that come together, and precision and craftsmanship. That's why we call our guys conduit craftsmen, not factory workers or anything like that. The coolants that go together, the cutting tools and all that. We make the best product on the planet for aluminum conduit. And now we've expanded to have stainless. You can see some of the stuff behind us, stainless steel conduit, rigid and EMT elbows, nipples and couplings, all this stuff. It is the best bar none. And that's why I tell my kids, we make the best on the planet.
That's awesome.
We stand unopposed. And it's that attention that, you know, when you're a smaller company, it's easier to pay close attention to how you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I love, you know, I've been to your location early on when I was executive director here, and I was very impressed with, you know, you gave me a tour and showed me, and for the reach that you have with your business, I was thinking, you know, it should be this massive facility, and it really is this nice, you mentioned it earlier, kind of quaint, close knit.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
well, I was going to ask you just a little bit, like, describe to me, because you were sharing about how you create this family environment, and that goes so much to leadership style. So, for the benefit of other business people, like, give us a little bit of insight of how you lead your team and how you create that family environment with your.
It's thank you. Yeah, that's been really important to the growth of the company. You know, when we started, we always had the work family concept from the very beginning. And you know, my desk, other people in the company had desks while I was working on a Costco plastic table. And you know, the guys in the factory floor, you know that I can come out and help set up most of the machines, not all of them, and run the machines, and can be very involved with them and know their names and tell them, you know, kind of what the vision is for the company. You know, so the environment and the culture is really one of there's one team and everybody's trying to go towards the same goal. We don't allow any kind of division between departments or anything like that. We quash that really quickly because we all have the same objective, which is to make the company and each other successful. That first year out, we broke even and maybe made just a little bit extra. We paid a bonus to the production workers. Nobody else.
Wow.
Nobody in the management team. None of that stuff. None of that money went there, and have been kind of true to that from the very beginning. And I think that kind of creates the lore of the company because they know that the people that are in the management side or Sarah and my wife and I founded the company, you know, they know that we're involved in it. And this is not some kind of financial model or, you know, a thing that we would take for granted. It's something that we're really keen on growing and growing the people and developing the people within it. There are no caps on where somebody can go within the company. We may not always need somebody to go to the next level, but if somebody comes in the door, we're not saying we need you to be an assembly line worker and that's the end of your development. If they have an interest in growing into more of the more complicated fabrications or CNC, we're open to that. We have 2 guys that work in CNC right now, which are some of the highest paid jobs, who started on the line just assembling conduit and then nipples and bending elbows, and they learned all these different areas and became much more valuable to the company. So we reward that, we recognize it. On the leadership style, I know you might have a question on this. I'm going to go ahead and address that. The leadership style is it kind of depends on who you're talking to, and there's been times during the company where I really needed to be kind of like the flag bearer and go and say, we're going to go up this hill here and come with me, and it's kind of like laying out the vision. I think the traditional name for that is authoritative, right? It's not authoritarian, it's authoritative, where you go and you do it, and they all come with, because they understand what the plan is. That's what happened with stainless steel. When we went into the stainless steel, you have to make product to get the UL approval, and everything we make is UL certified and again, top quality. But started in 2010 to 2014, the people that we had in 2014, with like 2 exceptions, didn't know that I threaded the first UL samples back in 2010. So I got on the floor and, my black shirt, like Molon Lab on it or something, they didn't really know what was coming next. And then I stood right next to them and I made all those samples. I made products and I put it all together. And then, there's a lot of other development that we do, not only with people out in the factory, but also in the management team, in the office staff. And it really depends on who it is. Some people you can take more of a coaching approach because you've known them for so long.
Right.
Isabel Rasnick is fantastic. She's my director of sales, and she started with customer service, and she's developed nicely. She's been with us for 8 years, and she's a very strong manager. She's one of the best that I've seen in 30 years of experience.
Wow.
And then there's other people where they need you need to take more of a lead role in helping them understand how things work. So it goes beyond coaching. It's really, let's do this together. Let's go through so you can understand the steps that we're gonna do this. Because most of the things that we encounter at Patriot, as far as a leadership or a management issue, they're pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Either it's working, not working, and usually it works. So.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I think there's another word besides authoritarian, which is visionary, which is what you mentioned, being a strong leader and where you want to go and being the very best on the planet.
Conduit's the very best.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So I love the model of including all the way down to your production workers and really involving them and making sure they're aware of the mission. I'm curious, because most of the business, especially now, businesses of what we're facing is workforce issues. And I know that we've worked a little bit with you guys with workforce stuff. How is that going for you guys with, do you still face some of the same challenges with workforce and turnover as maybe other manufacturers, or is it?
It's hard to say compared to other manufacturers. We do have some churn. We have a lot of people that have been with us for years, and there might be 1 or 2 that are coming up on 10 years, which is amazing, in my opinion. But workforce it's been very tight. We've managed to grow the workforce, but it's not through one thing. We pulled every lever that we could. We worked with Reentry Council, we worked with the IRC. We had 3 guys that were from Afghanistan that supported the military. Our director of operations, Sean Northcutt, was stationed in Afghanistan. And it was really interesting the way that he addressed it when they came in. There were some people in the factory that didn't understand who this was coming in. And he made it very clear that these are the support personnel in Afghanistan that supported me, and not me, Tom Click, but him, Sean Northcutt, in Afghanistan. And as soon as they do that, there's a target on their back. And they were great. They came right in, ready to work. We worked with Jaunt to bring them from Charlottesville out to Patriot. And I think maybe one of them is still with us, but there's not one solution to workforce. We need more people to understand that there are companies out here that are ready to hire, that are good jobs, provide good benefits. It's just the mechanism for people to see that isn't always clear. So we're constantly recruiting. I think we could probably hire 10 people right now.
Wow. Yeah. There is no shortage of job opportunities in the area. That's for sure. And do you, that is definitely the hot topic and stuff that we're working on and collaborating with to try to help the businesses. Is there any avenue that you've seen to be the greatest benefit for you in terms of finding job seekers that fit with what you're doing? I know you mentioned several channels, but is there anything maybe you can give other businesses a tip or a hint on what they need to do?
Put a sign on the road. That's one of the things. It's always there. It's always saying we're hiring. We list the types of jobs. Drivers, we're always looking for drivers, and CNC machinists and assembly line production worker, the conduit craftsman. We're always looking for those type of people. It's always selling. So I would put a sign on the road.
Yeah.
And, the VEC has been good for us. I think the name may have changed, but, working with that. But again, it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
You gotta push it on all fronts.
It's probably a lot like sales to get clients and customers.
It absolutely is.
It's almost like you've got to shift and start functioning that way to get employees.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you're asking for advice, on your website, put a apply for a job app. Just make it easier for people. Depending on the type of job. Nobody likes to go into an office and then immediately sit down for 15 minutes and write this thing out because you've done it 20 times.
Yeah.
Give them a spot where they can upload their resume. You can get the signatures that you need later. Just get the people in.
Yeah.
Out if they work out or not. So.
That's great. Very good advice. Let's shift a little bit because, I haven't gotten to talk to you one-on-one about, when the vice president came to visit, or the former Vice President Pence was here in Louisa. Can you share with everybody a little bit about what led to that and what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. And it was a really unique experience because I was in the office and I was talking with Susan Thomas, who's our Chief Financial Operations Officer. And Isabel came over and she said, I just got the weirdest phone call. It was this guy, and he said that he was organizing this thing for Vice President Pence, and they'd like to come. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, this is crazy. So I said, get him on the phone, and I'm going to sit over here quietly, and I'm going to feed you questions to ask him. And I'm like, how does he know Patriot? And it was a connection from someone that worked at Blue Ridge Bank, who had visited with me, and we had made a connection, kind of a secondary, sideline connection there. And he said this would be a good spot. Now, granted, our building's 30,000 square feet. There's not a lot of open spaces in Louisa County in the buildings at that time. And also, we've got flags everywhere. So it's like it's already prepped.
Right.
Each piece of conduit has a flag on it. And it turned out it was all legitimate. And they came in, the Secret Service came in to check out the place. They checked out all of us. And they climbed up on the roof and put 2 phone lines in and dropped the lines in my office. So I have two phone lines that I've never plugged a phone into them. I don't know if they call the White House or what, but
Wow.
they're sitting in there, and it was amazing. It was a circus, but in a good way. Like we had equipment. We moved all this product out of the way. They looked at all the conduit and they said, could you make like a corridor of conduit so the vice president could walk through and it's like a shield? And we were like, absolutely. So turned the factory upside down. And, I think the guys thought it was pretty funny and what was going on. It was actually a big sales month for us. So we're trying to get all this stuff out. So again, we just kind of immediately shift to adapt. And we normally run 8-hour shifts. So we're like, well, all right, we're going to do 4 10-hour shifts. We're going to move all this. We're going to do all this stuff. And it couldn't have been more professional, and it was a great honor to meet him. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a very smart guy. And hopefully we'll continue to see stuff from him in the political arena. But one of the funny things, two funny things. So when he was coming in, we got to give some opening remarks. And Sarah and I came up with the opening remarks together, and you can find them on the website and on my LinkedIn page. And we had a lot of fun with that. And it talked about the importance of American manufacturing. And that was really the reason he was coming to visit. It was for the USMCA. Traditionally, Patriot is a apolitical company. So we don't get involved in politics. We're more on the issues. And I've done op-eds, and I've given very minor speaking points on tax reform and things like that up in DC. And but we're not really political. The USMCA looked really good to us, because when we first heard that this could be an opportunity, the first question I asked was, do we want to do this? Like, I would really like to meet the vice president, but do we want to do this as a company? And as we dug into the USMCA, it's really, they've got a lot of marketing, but they really don't talk about how important it was. So we're proud to support that and support that group. And we got to give the opening remarks, and my mom was in the audience, of course. So I'm like, and my mom is here, and everybody's like, yeah, and I hear her laugh, right? So we go back to get a photo and meet the vice president as he's coming in, right? So we leave, and there's some other guys talking, and my kids are there, and you can see them all on the website. And I've got 2 boys and a girl, and Sarah and my mom are there. And at the time, I think they were 13, 12, and 11. And we're standing around, waiting for the vice president to appear. He's going to come in, and the Secret Service is doing all this stuff. And the kids are being kids, right? So they're picking on each other, and they're joking around, they're goofing around. It's like this little miniature circus. And he walks in, and it was like a switch was flipped. Like, pleased to meet you, Mr. Vice President. all 3 of them. My mom, it was great. He was very professional. Asked us about the business. How's the economy helping us, hurting us? What are things going on? We talked about that for a couple of minutes, and got our photo, and we went back. When he got up to give his speech, he can't really remember how he worked this in, but he goes, he says, I got a chance to meet Tom's mom, and she's the best mom. And the crowd went wild. But it was great. Everybody was really professional. It did seem kind of, it was kind of surreal, and I know that happens all the time, but it seemed kind of surreal. Shortly after, we got another email inviting us to go to one of the Christmas receptions. And I didn't even know that this was a thing, but I think the vice president and his wife, Karen, had 8 or 9 Christmas receptions that they did in the holiday season. We got to go to. Sarah and I went to that.
Wow.
It was amazing. We got to see the vice president's residence, and everything was top notch. It was really, really good. They had a big candy dish, and I joked with the kids. I brought back candy, and I'm like, I stole this candy from Vice President Pence. Looking for it. Don't tell him it was me.
Don't tell him. I love it. I love that the vice president gave a shout out for your mom. That's
awesome.
It goes right to the whole family experience. Your whole family is involved, and I think that's great. I definitely have appreciated your stories and your business being here in Louisa. I know that you are one of the key businesses in our community. The Chamber's recognized you as a Business Person of the Year. in the past. You've been very supportive. If there's, can you kind of summarize what what approach do you take in terms of serving in Louisa County, and because I know you're active on a couple of boards and things like that. Can you kind of give us your philosophy on businesses being involved and giving back to the community?
Yeah,
That
that's a great question. My advice is get involved as much as you can, as much as your time permits, because you're going to meet people and experience something with them that you won't normally get when you're on the outside. Everybody here is nice and professional, and they're trying to do their jobs to serve the county. But if you can get in and really help them do that, the reward and the benefit is significant. In terms of friendship, political and personal friendships that you can develop with that. Understanding how the county works, understanding who people are, and understand that mission of where the county is going to go. The new industrial park that is coming up in Shannon Hill, I was very proud to go and speak in favor of that at City Council when they were, it was me and 3 or 4 other people speaking in favor of it versus 150 who were a little more concerned and didn't understand exactly what it was going to do for the county. So the time that I spent with Go Virginia, and I'm still on the board for Go Virginia, was personally very rewarding. Professionally, it developed even more. I'm involved with Gen Edge and for reshoring some products, and specifically PPE products after the pandemic here. And I think that people in the county, both in Louisa County and in some of the other ones that I've met through Go Virginia, know that they can just call me up, and say, can you help us with this, or what do you think about this? I would never have had that experience if you don't take that first step and really just go and say, hey, how can I help? What can I do?
Yeah. Well, that is certainly great advice. And I, I know we could talk for a while, because I just is exciting, and just the contributions that you offer, the insights. But we do need to kind of wrap this up. So maybe we'll talk again in the future. But I do want to thank you for your time. And I want to remind everybody that Patriot Aluminum is a member of the Chamber. They're a great supporter of the organization. If you want to get in touch with Tom, or even find out more about their organization, you can go to our website, louisachamber.org, and find them. And I know Tom's very active on LinkedIn, sharing different information and so forth. So again, thank you so much. Is there anything, before we jump off here, is there anything that maybe I haven't asked that you would like to share for the benefit of watching?
No, this was a great discussion. Maybe one other thing I would share is that if there's people out there, or companies out there that are considering manufacturing, the answer should be yes. There's a lot of room in America to manufacture products. You do need to be on your numbers, and you need to understand why certain products are imported from other countries right now, whether it's labor or convenience or whatever. There's a lot of companies that would categorize all the stuff you see behind me as a commodity. And it's really only a commodity if you allow it to be a commodity. So when we came in, our competitors are billion-dollar companies who can't make a connection with a customer. And even though we make the best product, if you can't make that customer connection, it's going to be really, really tough. You can manufacture things here. There's no reason that America can't do it, and especially Central Virginia. This is a fantastic spot for manufacturing. Louisa County definitely has some of the lowest property taxes, equipment taxes, that sort of thing that are really important to businesses. And the shipping routes out of Louisa County and the workforce that you get, it's a really good spot for manufacturing. I would encourage you to really take a look at it. Talk to Andy and Tracy and everybody else that's involved here in the county, and scope out the plan. So maybe that would be it. Part of Patriot's mission, and you see this on the website, is to inspire American manufacturing. Because we will walk into companies like, I had no idea that you made that here.
Yeah.
And it's through that combination of, the traditional American values of grit and determination play a big role in this. But we have equipment that is both the oldest and the newest. So when we run some of the smaller products and things like that, we run 3 shifts on CNC. We have 16 machines and 3 or 4 employees, and third shift is lights out. So don't be afraid necessarily of lower labor costs in other countries. There's operation and ingenuity and service and focus can win a lot of business.
I think we're going to have to schedule an entire, because you've just kind of like dropped a bomb out. I get every day people popping up new businesses, and a lot of your entrepreneurs are looking at your traditional B2C type businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or even just not a storefront, but selling stuff, through Etsy and online and all those resources. Manufacturing is not, when you're talking to people, it's not always like, oh yeah, I want to start a manufacturing company, right? So I think it's really good. We have a lot of manufacturing and a lot of industry in Louisa that people don't even know about.
Absolutely. And it's really a hidden opportunity, because, there's plenty of businesses that you can start really small and make a lot of business. So some people want to do that. We started with that $5,000 machine and 1,000 square feet. So now probably $4.5 million of equipment and facilities.
Wow.
1,000 square feet in Louisa. We have another 45,000 in Petersburg, and we have warehouses. We have 11 warehouses around the country that stock and sell our products, and then we ship international as well. We sell a lot of stuff to Italy very frequently. We've sold power plant projects in Egypt, and manufacturing is even if you're in the state, it's like having an export business. We're exporting it to Texas and North Carolina and Georgia and all that, and then you bring that in. So you can have a real concentration of revenue coming out of a very small factory. And there's thousands of manufacturing businesses. But yeah, we could. I tend to talk too much, but anytime you want to chat, I'm available.
I love it. I think there's a whole wave of change occurring in the market and so forth. And I, like I said, you just drop a bomb right in the middle of this, opened up a can of worms of a great, even I'm like, oh yeah, I did have an idea about a product one time. So yeah, we're going to definitely have to talk some more, Tom. I thoroughly enjoyed your time today. I'm going to let you get back to.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you so much. Thank you everybody for watching, and check out Tom Click on what's your website, by the way?
It's patriotsas.com.
Perfect. Or like I said, you can find him on our chamber website. Thank you again, Tom, for your time. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.